lineup.
Well, I think Constance Klosterhausen, who won here last year, which was a bit of a surprise, I think. She's now a big favourite for this. Although, interestingly, she got here quite late because I understand she had to attend an award ceremony yesterday or Friday, so successful as she's been this year. And World Junior medal, she ran at the Olympic Games. And then after that, when everybody thought she'd take a rest, she broke the German junior record for 5,000 metres, which had belonged to Alina Ray, who's also a multiple European junior champion herself, and she's in the German team. So I think they might hope to be retaining their title in the junior race.
Yes, at yesterday's press conference, Alina Ray was actually being very demure about Germany's chances of retaining their team title, which they won last year in France. She was saying that, oh, we've got a younger team, but with her and Klosterhausen, well, you have to say, yes, they probably are the favourites, although Great Britain, as always, have brought a very, very strong team. They're sure to be contenders. But we've been scrolling through the start list there. It's not actually presented in nationality order as we often expect, but in fact in terms of the echelons as we scroll past them. Just saw there. Youngest competitor in these entire championships, Christine Nice, the only 15-year-old at this race. However, she's pretty useful, Nordic junior champion. A few other names to perhaps look at include Delia Sklabas from Switzerland, who astonished us, for those of you who are watching the European Athletics transmission from Tbilisi, the inaugural European Under-18 Championships this summer. She won 2 gold medals there, and very, very impressive indeed. 16 years of age, Sklabas from Switzerland, as we see the traditional frantic rush over the course of the first 80 to 90 metres before we start on the first of the 2 short laps, which they cover. The Under-20 women's race, 2 short laps, followed by 2 long laps, start and finish of around 60 metres. That brings them home course distance of 4,150 metres. Well, already fields starting to stretch out just a little bit as they embark on this first short lap. 82 runners from 22 different countries. As I say, last year, slightly surprisingly, the Germans dominated this race also. Second though, splitting the Germans, Klosterhausen and Ray, is the Brit, Harriet Knowles-Jones. Also look out for when we start getting into the meat of the race after the first kilometre or so, although we can see here the tall, long-legged figure with that very long hair behind her, Constance Klosterhausen from Germany, already in the lead. I'm going to say as well, though, Knowles-Jones slightly surprisingly beaten at the British trials by Victoria Weir, so let's keep an eye on that British pair as well.
Unfortunately, Britain are weakened slightly here because Hannah Nuttall, who was one of the 6 declared, is ill and doesn't start, so they're running with 5.
The Italians also showing quite well to the fore there, and the Spanish, you can see there Alina Ray back in about 20th position at the moment. So the first short lap concluded.
Well, I saw Alina Ray training on the course yesterday with her coach, and she was doing reps of this short lap, so she'll be familiar with this. And afterwards, I noticed that they were speaking to each other in English, and I thought, well, that's strange, they're both German. Anyway, I asked the coach about that, and he said they were doing it deliberately to prepare her for the press conference, which gives you an idea of how the attention to detail in the German team to prepare for these things, because she gave a really good answer to quite a difficult question from you, Phil, I think, at that press conference.
Well, I do like to challenge them a little in this situation. However, here we see up at the front there, we see Anna-Emilie Moller. Well, she's finished in the top 10 at the last 2 under-20 races at the European cross-country championships, and she recently at the Olympics improved the European junior 3,000 metre steeplechase record. taking a mark off a German, Getter Felicitas Krause, who'd owned it just for a few years. So Moller's up there, Sklarbas also in that group at the front.
And another steeplechaser, Shabanova of Belarus.
Yes, Belarus, not traditionally a power at the Spa European Cross Country Championships. In fact, only one medal in the entire previous 22 years. But well, women's race has a habit of occasionally throwing up surprising medalists. Yeah, you can see there Sklarbas in 7th. We've picked her out. Gemma Holloway from Britain also doing well in 9th. Ray in 11th. Victoria Weir a few places further back. Well, Klosterhaufen really has stamped her authority on this race. Now we're starting to see about a 10-meter gap already emerging over Shabanova. Moller from Denmark in 3rd place at the moment, and then there's a gap between the first and then the next 3 places, followed by another gap. Still very early stages in this race, about another 10 minutes of running still to go. Well, I have to say, Klosterhaufen looks absolutely magnificent at this stage in the race. Mark ran through a few of her credentials. She's had a very busy year, including that German junior 5,000 meter record. She's also the junior winner at the recent European Athletics cross-country permit meeting in Germany, in Darmstadt.
On the big screen, you can see now the splits after 2.
You can see the tall figure there out on the left-hand side of your screen, just going through there in 2nd place of Knowles-Jones. As we look back down the field here. Not quite sure how things look in the team race at the moment. I think it is Germany and Great Britain really vying for the gold medal at this stage. Of course, a lot will depend on the lower counters.
At this very early stage, Britain are leading from France and Italy, with Germany only in 8th place. But that was before the shake-up caused by the break of Klosterhaufen.
Well, I think you're right. Well, I've just seen a 3rd German runner go through. Well, Klosterhaufen really starting to put a huge amount of distance between her and the best of the rest. It's Moller and Knowles-Jones in 2nd and 3rd in that battle at the moment. Ray in 4th, having come through quite well. Well, I have to say, not being too Anglo-centric, she does remind me a little bit, although, of a young Paula Radcliffe, turning the clock back about 20 years or so. Perhaps not quite with the nodding head of that era, but certainly in terms of stature and the arms and, of course, the long hair. And Radcliffe, of course, went on to win the junior title at the 1992 World Cross Country Championships. So let's look back a little bit. So Moller, who's finished 8th and 6th in the last 2 European Cross Country Championships. Ray, up in 5th there. Lau from the Netherlands. Well, Jasmine Lau.
Our leader, Constance Klosterhaufen, 19 years old, of course.
Hasn't got many international credentials now, although she did win the Dutch Junior 5,000 meter title in the summer.
On the big screen, she was also world under-20 bronze medalist in Big Bush in 3,000 meters. And in 2015, also bronze medalist at the European
We can see there Klosterhaufen negotiating one of the 2 artificial hills on this course. It's a very flat course apart from 3 small obstacles, little hedges, and also 2 artificial hills. So we're just over halfway into the race.
And in fact, those mounds caused a bit of controversy yesterday because you see they're freshly turfed, nobody was allowed to run over them yesterday because they wanted the turf to set, so nobody practiced those hills, but it wasn't any trouble for the leader there.
Well, we can just see there 10 seconds between Klosterhalfen and the chasing duo of Moller and Knowles-Jones, and then another 4 seconds back to Ray and Lau. Lucia Rodriguez in 6th place at the moment, the very good Spaniard.
And Delia Slavas from Switzerland, running in position number 7.
Then Schlabas from Switzerland in 7th place at the moment. And then we can see the rest of the nations file through. Well, this is a race that has been dominated almost from the gun by Constance Klosterhalfen.
As you see, 10 seconds. Klosterhalfen ahead of Müller and Knowles-Jones.
Team standings, well, Great Britain, Northern Ireland packing well. Germany, as Mark said in the early stage of the race, a little way back, but their 3rd and 4th scorers have moved up.
And Britain have 4 of the top 11. Jones Knowles 3rd, and then Weir, Victoria Weir 9th, Amelia Quirk 10th, and Gemma Holloway 11th. They're the 4 scorers.
And you can see the hay bales. We were told they were going to be hedges, but those are quite clearly hay bales from the local farm.
And on the big screen you can see team standings.
So it's Ray and Lau contesting 4th and 5th positions.
Ahead of Germany, France,
Ray finished 5th 2 years ago, 3rd last year. Schlabas now just overtaken Lucia Rodriguez.
Things can change in the last lap.
Mention to Elise Beneteau in 8th place there from France as we look at the leader. Well, just continuing to stride away with this race. I think it's more than 10 seconds now between her and the chasing pair of Moller and Knowles-Turner.
And in fact, Phil, there are 3 of those mounds. There's 2 in quick succession, as you can see there, and then 1 more towards the end of the lap. And at the top of that, the runners see the have the side of the finish for the first time.
And yes, you can just see behind the leading 8 and the French woman, Beneteau in 8th place. Holloway and Victoria Weir now in 9th and 10th place. Well, about 3 minutes of running still to go. Klosterhalfen glancing back. Looking at this stage, well set to become just the 2nd junior woman to defend a title. Of course, Stephanie Twell won it 3 times on the trot. Klosterhalfen now looking very good indeed, and looking as though she's going to gain that almost unique accolade of winning back-to-back junior titles. It's difficult to see just running back through the field and looking at how comfortable Klosterhalfen is running, just whether anybody can really get up with her. There you can see another of those hay bale obstacles as Moller now starts to pull away from Knowles-Jones. Well, Moller, she's got a great track record, European Junior Steeplechase record holder. And she's a proficient cross-country runner. As I mentioned earlier in this race, twice a top 10 finisher in the last 2 years. Looking as though she's on her way for a medal, but this is where the gold is going.
And I've just been checking back, Phil, the biggest winning margin in this race is 25 seconds, which is a very large margin for such a short race. I'm not quite sure whether she's going to get that, but I reckon her first full lap of 1,500 metres or thereabouts was under 4:30, so that's pretty good running.
That's outstanding running on cross-country course. Well, she's just coming now into the finish. Klosterhalfen's only about 50 metres away from taking the first gold medal of the 2016 Spa European Cross Country Championships. Constance Klosterhalfen defends her title. Germany takes the first gold medal here in Chia. Well, that was a very, very quick run indeed. 12 minutes, 26 seconds over this course. Silver will go to Denmark. Anna-Emilie Moller, 17 seconds in arrears, though, of Germany's Klosterhalfen. On the podium again, Harriet Knowles-Jones, silver last year, bronze this time around. Alina Ray continues her super consistent series. Jasmine Lau, a surprise 5th place there for the Dutch woman. Great run there from Lau. Schlabas, just 16 years of age. She's got another 2 years in these ranks. She's 6th place. Lucia Rodriguez, good run there from the Spaniard. Cecile Lejeune moved up to 8th. Amelia Quirk, now we didn't see much of her during the race. She moved up very well. Victoria Weir completes the top 10. And Gemma Holloway, so team title definitely going to Great Britain there with 4 in the top 11. As we look back now down the finishers. Well, we saw a lot of Shabanava there in the early stage of the race, but she slipped back quite considerably. Anna-Mark Helvig there, well, she's down in the 30s, but Helvig was the European under-18 steeplechase champion. We could see lots of her in the years to come. Christine Nice, Nordic junior champion there, long way back, perhaps a little surprising, although 15 years of age, she's got another few years in this competition at this category. As we run down the remaining finishers there, but you can see, well, the delighted Dutch. It's possible they've got onto the podium, maybe just scraping in as the bronze medalists, or what's the verdict there?
Well,
Mark?
provisionally, yes, they're Britain first. I think that's quite clear. Germany second and Netherlands third, but there are some fractional scores there, so I'm sure they haven't confirmed all the placings, but the gap between third Netherlands and fourth France is 17 points, so I'm not sure if that's going to be closed by any adjustments that are to follow.
Well, Klosterhalfen adding to her gold medal collection, and it's becoming quite an extensive one, despite still being a teenager. Well, what we're going to see here in quick succession are all the races. The medal ceremonies in an innovation will be held later.
Thank you. We're here with the winner. How was your race today on this beautiful day?
Very good. I was a bit nervous, and so I want to stay easy. And yes, this beautiful island with the sun today.
Thank you.
Well, as we looked at the pictures there of the finishers, you could hear the words of Constance Klosterhalfen, actually saying she was a little nervous before she started. Well, she didn't need to be. She was the favourite, and she delivered in fine fashion. As I was saying, though, unusually the races won't be interspersed with the medal ceremonies. They'll all take place later, and so in quick succession we're going to be turning our attention to the under-20 men's race, which gets underway in barely 10 minutes' time. Well, Mark, that was a great race, but well, we'll get on to that race in a moment. There's confirmation of the results, though. Klosterhalfen, 12.26. That is a very, very good run indeed. We know it's flat conditions and it's perfect conditions underfoot, but that was a really terrific run from her. Followed home by Anna-Emilie Moller and Harriet Knowles-Jones for Denmark and Great Britain, respectively. Let's run through the rest of the finishers there. Confirm results.
Germany 56.5 and Netherlands 71.5.
Well,
Where it says photo, it means they're not quite sure the order of those two. They finished so close together, so they're going to be in the same positions, but one might be ahead of the other.
and you can hear the in-course announcer. He's confirmed that indeed the team standings are Great Britain, Germany and the Netherlands. Well, I'll get you running through your notes very quickly. Mark, when was the last time the Netherlands won a team medal?
Well, I was just considering that. I think 2005 Tilburg.
I'll throw you a tricky one just so while I get my breath.
They've won a fair few medals.
Yes.
We needed the gap between the races to check these things. Don't ask me those questions like that.
It won't be the last one. There we see confirmation of the under-20 women's team race. Great Britain, Northern Ireland, 33 points. Germany 56.5, which means there was a photo finish in there. The Netherlands 71, just outside the medals. France followed by Spain. 14 teams scoring. So